We were able to. Yeah, someone does.
Somebody just posted Yeah, I think that's.
Wait, don't get water. Water duties. Okay. We just kept running.
Yeah, and then finally, just here's a black mom.
I think we're all done ready.
All right, 7 o'clock, it's time to start our North City Council meeting tonight. Janine, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Labutus.
Present.
Mr. Lang.
Present.
Mr. Marmy.
Present.
Mr. Rath.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
Mr. Barker.
Present.
Ms. Klein. Present. Mr. Harris.
Here.
Ms. Hattiger. Here. Mr. Hauser.
Here.
We all please stand for the invocation by Mr. Hauser, and then please remain standing for the pledge.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for all your many blessings. Thank you for blessing us for living in one of the freest countries in this world. Just also want to thank you for all of our safety forces, the things that they are doing. Ask your blessing upon them as they protect us. I also want to ask your blessing on this council meeting tonight. As we deal with difficult issues, I pray that you would all be able to get through with your grace. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Tonight's pledge allegiance will be done by Diamond Schooler, 5th grade from Carson Elementary. Want to come up, Diamond? Thank you, Don.
Great job. Good job.
Next is, caucus, time for council. Does anybody have anything for caucus?
Mr. President,
Yes.
make a motion to excuse Mr. Elliott.
Second. Motion by Mr. Marmy, second by, Mr. Rapp, all in favor, say aye. Aye. That passes 10-0. Next is, minutes of, April 3rd meeting, 2023. Motion approved. Motion by Barker. Second by Hauser. All in favor? Aye. That passes. Next is appointments. There are no appointments this meeting. Next is reports of standing committees. Finance and service without objection, that will be received and filed. Next is reports from city officials, city auditor Ryan T. Bubb. Operating report for the period ending in March 31st, 2023, Brenda Cooper. Tax administrator, office, income tax revenue reports for period ending March 31st, 2023 with Alden Jefferson will be received and filed. Communications, Ohio Division of Liquor Control, new liquor license applications for Family Dollar Stores of Ohio LLC, DBA Family Dollar Store 31-283-1280 East Main Street, North Ohio 43055. And then the Department of Air Force Civil Engineering Center Advisory Board information at the former North Air Force Base. Okay, next on our agenda, citizens from comments. This is not a debate with council, it's not a question and answer session. It's for you, an opportunity for you to speak. We ask that you be respectful. No personal attacks. And how many is here to speak for the cemetery? How many? Just 4 of you? Okay. You want to go first? Do you want to go first? Okay. Ma'am, in the red, do you want to go?
Sure.
You didn't speak last meeting.
Yeah.
You gotta come up here to the board, and I asked if tonight if we can keep our comments to 3 minutes,
Hi,
3 minutes apiece, and I need your name and address for the record, please.
that's Karen Spoonemore, 101 Creek Avenue. And I'm just here to decorate the stones. That little girl was here, it's my great niece. And that's my nephew buried with my dad. They put stuff on the stones and it disappeared. And all the kids was back here, there's my family, they're the ones that decorate.
Okay, thank you. Somebody else had their hand up back here. Bill.
Bill Jefferson, 817 Large Creek Drive, North Ohio. I am here because of the disgusting way that they treated the flags that they pulled off of the graves at the cemetery. I mean, I seen the pictures of the flag stuff in a trash can, laying on the ground. And whoever's in charge of that cemetery, they must not have any respect for flags or veterans. And they must not really know their job. And I don't know how you people feel about it. I don't know if there's any veterans sitting up here in front of me, but if you're a veteran, to see that display of flags is totally disgusting. And you people need to do something about it.
That's right. Yeah.
No, hey, we're not doing that. No comments, no clapping. We're not doing that tonight, okay? If you can't do that, these are the rules of council. If you can't follow the rules, then we'll have to ask you to leave. That's the way it is tonight. Who's next? Okay, come on.
I'd like to Lauren Barber, 424 Thomas Avenue, Newark. I'd like to add to Mr. Jefferson's comment that, the Newark Advocate article that was just put out Friday, the statement there from Ms. Pasnick was those barrels are there so that we can respectfully burn these flags. And I don't know how many of you have seen the pictures. I want to really take issue with that description of respect. Okay, that sounded more like just trying to minimize the situation. So I will be brief, Mr. Harris. Unlike last time, I do want to say the workers there, Rusty, Joshua, and Devon, these guys are great. I mean, they're beyond that. They're fine ambassadors of this city. When they talk to me, when they talk to people there with concerns, you can see the sincerity in them. These men are not in any way responsible for what our concerns are today. I wanted to briefly touch on, I think it was unfortunate last week that things got out of hand and there were outbursts, and Mr. Ellington was put in a position of trying to maintain order in an environment he probably wasn't, expecting every meeting. So I noticed in the videos, he was sitting up there really trying to take in what was going on, asking questions, clarifying. Regardless of, what dynamics came out of that, I do want to recognize Mr. Ellington for what I thought was doing his job, and then the outburst that occurred. I'm going to address in a moment. There was a reason for that. Mayor Hall, I'd like to address, the rest of this to you, or at least most of it. Your comments in the Advocate. First off, I have a question about when that policy that was at the end of the article was written, because it seemed like it was held up to the community like, oh, this has been in place since 1931. And me reading it, I really doubt that. So I would like to pose a question to council. If someone could find out when was that written, because I thought it was somewhat deceptive in the sense of the community looking at that and saying, well, look, it says right there, it's been that way since, Roosevelt was president. So the other thing I want to address to you, Mr. Hall, is you made a statement in the paper that these borders are a safety hazard, that they're dangerous. And what I'd like to ask of you, and I'll stop by and pick it up anytime, if you could get together the workman's comp claims for the number of people that have been injured in the last 20 years by order. I'd like to have that information, because if you're going to hold that up as the reason, it must be pretty severe. Okay. The uproar that happened last week became that way because of a blatant statement that wasn't true. And I don't come in here and accuse people of hiding things, using the strong word lying, being dishonest. But that's what blew up, because there were a bunch of people here that knew that the statement that caused all that drew Mr. Ellington in was false. And it's actually really hard to sit here when something like that happens. So the gentleman last week passed his phone around to all of you. I don't know the way you might like to approach this best, but the claims, the superintendent stood here 2 weeks ago and looked at Mr. Ellington and said, cemetery had no hand in removing these objects unless they were broken, faded, or whatever. I come in to show you guys that isn't true. So in my mind, there was a misrepresentation to the public by the superintendent and the council. And the way I'd like to show you that, or these are some of the things. I don't know if you want to pass them down individually,
Just some on
Okay.
the table.
This is only a portion of the things that were recovered that we had, and if anybody recognizes your property as yours, feel free to take it. This is only what we could reach down into the dumpster. Each one of these is pristine. Okay, now, as I said, the cemetery workers, they don't need to, they have enough on their hands trying to weed whack. I'm sure they don't want to carry these things to the dumpster. I believe that they were things that toppled off of the base of a stone. And the logical thing to do would be to put them up instead of transport them an acre and a half or so to a dumpster. These guys are busy. So maybe they had some directive to do that. If it hits, that really meant something to some child, or at least her mother. I consider this, and I'm going to use strong terms, this is desecration. This is desecration. This is expensive in a dumpster. This I folded up, but that didn't blow away. And then the issue with the carousel that was presented to Ms. Patsnick. I don't know where it is. You know, here it is. She found it in the dumpster. It's broken. Or no, I'm sorry. That's part of it. But what I take issue with is that 2 weeks ago, the superintendent stood here and looked at these people and said, I have no idea where this property is. It must have blown away. It didn't blow away. And there was not one suggestion. Maybe you people might want to go up and look around a dumpster. Maybe we made a mistake and picked up something that wasn't chipped. Not even that is kind of a throw out and try to get this to blow over. I consider that deception. I believe 2 weeks ago, the management of that cemetery knew where these things were. So I don't come in and make accusations without proof. And if I had more boxes and I wanted to dig deeper, I could have brought you more. But these things were taken from the base of the grave. I went to my grave today. My granddaughter left a little dog like this. I put it between the stones. It's a double stone. You know, I found it actually blown out today. So blowing off, if it's kind of like, if they blow off, they're ours. Grab them, get them. These guys had to be directed. They don't do it themselves. If that's a policy and I come with solutions, how about anybody that wants to put something on the base of a grave? Have some silicone at the office, some clear silicone. A lot of people are doing that. They've silicone these things. That'll keep them from blowing off. That'll keep them from getting in the way of the mowers. You know, we're willing to do anything. We're willing to compromise. We're not here saying it's one way or no. So the issue of the flags, which is on video, the issue of the superintendent standing up here telling, look at Mr. Ellington. He said, did the cemetery have anything to do with this? No. Hold on. No. So you can categorize that from a city official, whatever that falls under, whatever category that falls under.
Need to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up. The last thing is taxpayer money, okay? We had a windstorm. We were all warned. I brought in my deck umbrella. There's a multi-$1,000 tent out there shredded because someone didn't have the wherewithal in that management to bring that in. Another one's ordered now. Who's paying for it? We don't. That's mismanagement of property. If nothing else, malfeasance. But that was, I see nothing in the cemetery's management, like Mr. Jefferson said, everything that's occurred in the last, since this came to light has been unacceptable. Those burn bits, the flags, the excuses. Those flags all didn't blow across that lawn. They were harvested. The majority of them were harvested. We can prove that. So I do want to say lastly, I spoke to Mr. Rhodes. I want to let everybody know we're making progress. Mr. Rhodes is looking at solutions. Mr. Rhodes is indicating to me that he's going to take all of our concerns. You're gonna be able to have an angel for your baby. I wasn't giving this to you.
All right, you need to wrap it up, please.
Okay, well, I just wanted to give Mr. Rhodes credit. I thought it might temper the rest of the comments that we are making progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else, or did you want to speak? Okay.
If anybody recognizes any of this, come. Let me get it.
My name's Chad Barreto, I live at 26 Parker Avenue, North Ohio. And I have family that's buried at the cemetery when my brother passed away 4 years ago. Before I had him laid to rest there, because he was cremated. And I went to the office and I talked to the lady so I could pay the $500 for opening and closing of the grave. I asked the lady personally, I said, hey man, if I have my brother laid to rest here, am I allowed to put mulch and whatnot, a border, whatnot for my brother, for his kids to come, whatnot. She said, yeah, as long as you can do it, as long as we don't know about it, we don't care. So that's fine. So I did that. Well, now it's become a big issue, whatnot. And people grieve different. I grieve different, you grieve different, everybody grieves different. His kids, you know, family, they all go there, everybody grieves, eat trinkets, whatnot. Our grave hasn't been touched yet. And I know it's gonna be, I'm willing to do what I gotta do to make it compliant with whatnot. But I do have a big cross on there, it was on front page of the paper. I had a handmade, well, personally made out of a tree, cost me $500. And that's something for his kids can find his grave, you know, hey, I can see it from the road, let's go see my dad, you know. The marker for them, everybody can see it for the family. You know, if I gotta move that, kind of don't want to, because it's a, people could find his grave, because you don't have a headstone, he just has a marker. You know, and I feel, you know, if I got people come from out of state, they don't know where it's at, hey, look for the cross. You know, it's a big wooden cross, I know you guys probably seen it in the advocate. Yeah, but yeah, it does get out of hand, I get that, but there should be some leeway here for people. The lady told me I can do what I wanted to do with it, with the grave, and that's what I did. You know, I thought, hey, I got the opportunity to respect my brother. I go up there when he passed, I go up there on that date, I go up on his birthday, clean it up, you know, holidays, whatnot. Kids come up, we even sit out there and eat a pizza, you know, like reminisce. You know, they like Lou's Pizza, we get Lou's Pizza, sit there and eat. You know, it's what we do. You know, like I said, everybody grieves different, you know, and it gives soul to us, you know what I mean? So, I just want to close with that, you know, just let you guys a little insight, how everybody grieves and little sentimental things. At the cross, sentimental to me, sentimental to his kids. Cause I had it made, and I had 3 other ones made for that, small ones, gave one to each kid, you know, so it represents him. So when they're in the room, they can see the cross, they go to the graveyard, it's a big one. Yeah, I don't know if you can really tell from the picture, from the advocate, but there's also little crosses there, we put little candles and whatnot, light it up on his birthday or whatnot. It's just sentimental stuff. And I know everybody grieves and whatnot, different, like I said, but I feel stuff like that should, you know, should be allowed, not extremely blowed out like many of the things, just a few, like that man said. You know, it is big, I do grant, you know, but he don't have a headstone, he just has a marker. So that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else?
Craig Conley, 2926 Grandview Road South, Granville. My wife has family buried in Cedar Hill, and parent and grandparents. We go every Memorial Day and plant flowers and meander through the aisles and kind of take note of different mementos and things that bring to the attention the fact that this person is still remembered. I think that it's kind of cold that we cannot remember that a cemetery is for the living, it's not for the dead. This is a memorial where people can come and leave a memento or something that reminds them of their deceased parent, child, grandparent, etc. I think it's very important. And I think you're missing the point here when you start cleaning graves to make it just a cold stone. Thank you.
All right, anybody else that has anything else besides the cemetery issue they would like to? Go.
My name is Desiree Blake at 125 South Second Street. And I sympathize with everyone else here. But I just want to let you guys know, my daughter's Jerica Blake, you know, she's deaf. And she made the USA Deaf Sports Federation team for the 2023 World Championship Deaf Bowling. And she's the only one from Ohio, Little Newark, Ohio, on top of that. And they're going to Munich, Germany. So I just want to let you guys know that we're going to bring that gold back home and celebrate Newark and everything. But here's a picture of her if you guys want to look, but I just want to let you guys know what's going on and we're representing Ohio.
Thank you. All right, there will be another opportunity for everyone to speak. Next on the agenda is there's no ordinance on the second reading, no ordinance on the first reading. Resolutions on the second reading, 23-27.
Resolution number 23-27 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Rath, a resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt resolution 23-27.
Second.
motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Hattiger?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
That passes 10-0. Next on the agenda is resolution 23-30.
Resolution number 23-30 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Mr. Rath, a resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service of the City of Newark, Ohio to participate in the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program.
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
make a motion to adopt resolution 23-30.
Second.
motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes,
Ms. Hattiger?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Hauser?
that passes 10-0. Next is resolution 23-31.
Resolution number 23-31 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, Mr. Barker, Mr. Hauser. A resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service for the City of Newark, Ohio to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Licking County Soil and Water Conservation District.
Mr. President.
Mr. Rath,
Motion to adopt 23-31. Second.
motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? All right, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes,
Ms. Hattiger?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
that passes 10-0. Next is resolution 23-32.
Resolution number 23-32 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Mr. Hauser, Mr. Ryan, and Ms. Blind. A resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service for the City of Newark, Ohio to enter into a cooperative agreement with Newark Development Partners and other affected property owners for replacement of a sewer line.
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 23-32. Second.
got a motion by Mr. Barker, or Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Okay, Janine, please call it.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes,
Ms. Hattiger?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
that passes 10-0. Next, we have resolutions on the first reading, 23-33.
Resolution number 23-33 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Mr. Rath. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to apply for financial support from the state of Ohio 2023 Nature Works Grant.
This will be held until our next meeting, which will be May the 1st. Next is resolution 23-34.
Resolution number 23-34 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, and Mr. Rath. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit an application to the United States Department of Justice for fiscal year 2023 cops hiring program.
This too will be held until our next meeting, which will be May 1st. Next is 23-39.
Resolution number 23-39 expedite by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Mr. Rath. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy,
I make the motion to waive the 2-day reading rule on resolution 23-39. Second.
a motion by Mr. Marmy to waive the 2-day meeting rule and second by Mr. Lang. Please call roll.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Harris.
Yes,
Ms. Hattiger.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
that passes 10-0.
Mr. President, make a motion to adopt resolution 23-39. Second.
Got a motion to adopt by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Any discussion on this? Okay, call roll please.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Harris.
Yes,
Ms. Hattiger.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
that passes 10-0. Next is resolution 23-40.
Resolution number 23-40 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy. Resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to participate in the ODOT winter contract 018-24 for road salt and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
I make a motion to adopt 23-40. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
I realize this is on the first reading, but we do have the emergency clause on this. And the reason for that clause is to coordinate with ODOT's deadlines.
Any other discussion? Please follow roll.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Harris.
Yes,
Ms. Hattiger.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
that passes 10-0. Next up is the resolution 23-41.
Resolution number 23-41 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, and Mr. Marmy. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to advertise for bids and enter into contracts subject to the appropriation of funds for various construction projects.
This will be held until our next meeting, which will be May 1st. And the last one on the agenda is resolution 23-42.
Resolution number 23-42 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, and Mr. Rath. A resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Safety for the city of Newark, Ohio to reduce the lien previously placed against the property located at and known as 11 Moore Street, Newark, Ohio.
This will be held until our next meeting is May 1st. Well, that completes our ordinance and resolutions tonight. Next, we have your second opportunity for citizen comments. Again, if you're on the top, you should keep it under 3 minutes tonight. Does anybody else want to speak? Oh, anything besides cemetery, anything else? Okay.
I'm sorry, I forgot to add something that this is very brief.
To see your name and address. again.
Warren Barber, 424
Thank you.
Thomas Avenue North. In the course of us being forced to look into this issue that arose, there were a number of other questions that came up. And the closer you looked, the more questions there are. And I'm going to ask maybe the council for the next meeting could have some responses to this, but we were under the impression that the prior supervisor was retiring. We now find out that another position has been created, assistant superintendent and superintendent. Now, for years, that position cost so much money, it was run by one person. We now have two. And I picture around a table after decades of the city saying, we just don't have the help at Cedar Hill. We don't have the funds at Cedar Hill. to keep up on that place. The table where someone said, okay, we've got 3 employees. We have 1 superintendent. We got some payroll money here. What are we gonna do? Let's make another superintendent. Okay, that's a huge question. So what the citizens are asking is, the hours that each of these individuals spend at that cemetery, what their duties are to justify that much management over 3 individuals. I'm not including the secretary. In my corporate experience, you might have a superintendent over 20 people doing pretty complex things. So that in itself, I'm questioning, is there some money we can free up in this city? Looking at city vehicles that could just stay on site and then be used for field trips or whatever. Is there a lease that can be gotten rid of? Why do we have 2 superintendents? It boggles my mind when all we've heard for decades is that cemetery is really needing some people out there on that grass. So if the council could look into justifying why we have 2 superintendent positions, one just created. Maybe that's why we should go to council meetings. Was that brought up here? Was that voted on here that we need to spend that money on another person? Or did it happen some other way? Thank you. The last question is also historically through the time I was 16 years old, the caretaker's house had the caretaker. It was someone who was employed by the cemetery. I now find out that isn't the case. This is the assistant supervisor's nephew living there. Now that house, if you're just going to farm it out to non-employees of the cemetery, I see that as a revenue source. Maybe he's paying market value rent on that house. If not, that certainly needs looked into. That's the first time that house was used in a manner that it wasn't created for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, any city officials tonight? Yeah.
I'm Chance Masnick. I know I've talked to some of you guys before. I just wanted to address some of the concerns that I heard from the crowd. I know that, you, sir, you had a concern about the flags. I totally get it. As soon as I saw that picture, it was at 8:30 on a Saturday. As soon as I got that picture, I called the guys and myself and an equipment operator. We went to the cemetery and we picked those up. That is not something that I think is okay. That's not something any of the guys think are okay. So immediately, as soon as I got that picture, we went there and we took care of that. We picked those flags up, and Miss Blind, she took those flags, and those are going to be disposed of properly at the VFW. Like I said, it's not acceptable. You're absolutely correct. And as soon as that was brought to my attention, that was addressed. And they're being disposed of properly. The barrels that they were placed in were not trash cans, but were burn barrels. They've been burned at the cemetery for years and years and years. And if that's something that we have to look into and disposing of them, you know, a different way, that's something that we can do, because that shouldn't happen. You're absolutely correct. As soon as that was brought to my attention, that was addressed. And it was addressed by Ms. Blind as well, which I do appreciate. Another one of the comments is about items being found in a dumpster, and that isn't the case. We have an area by the dumpsters where there are some planters. And those are.
Not having this, guys. I'm not having. Hey, if you can't.
I got some videos too.
Just, thank you. Hey, you're not gonna accuse someone of doing that.
We proved it last time.
You can go, sir.
So as far as the dumpsters, they were not found in the dumpster. They were not, we have items that have been back by those dumpsters for literal years, since before I was ever on at the city. And those items are a product of sporadic cleanups that needed done because of maintenance issues. There have been items that have been accumulating back there for years and years and years. And am I necessarily proud to say, we've had items back there that haven't been cleaned up. We have a messy maintenance barn. No, I'm not, but it's become a catch-all for just about everything. And some of those items have been from cleanups that have had to happen in the past, years in the past. As far as the items back there, they were not in the dumpster. We would not have thrown those away. As far as the wind-blown items that I said were picked up and thrown away last few months ago, those were thrown away. Those were thrown away. Those were compacted. Those were thrown away. But items that were being placed there clearly were not thrown away. Those were accumulated over years and years and years of random cleanups that needed done because of maintenance issues. But like I said, I'm not proud of the fact that we don't have a very well-kept maintenance building, but it's something that we're whittling away at and we're taking care of, and we're taking strides to improve that. So, thank you.
Any other city officials? The law director?
Yes.
Pass. The mayor?
I will pass it. Thank you.
Mr. Labutus?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank everyone this evening for coming out and sharing your concerns. I certainly appreciate that. Hopefully we can make some leeway on how the city works at the cemetery. I also want to congratulate Mrs. Blake on your daughter, calling you to Jeremy. Hope she does well, and I'm sure she'll represent us well as well. Now I will pass.
Mr. Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I guess one question I should answer for Mr. Barber as chair of the Personnel Committee. If there are new positions created, those do go through the Personnel Committee and we vote on those. If there are unfilled positions that then get filled, those don't necessarily come through Personnel Committee, but we do ultimately see positions created and abolished. I'll have to look at the question he asked about the Assistant Superintendent and look at that. Appreciate everybody coming. I know it's this is not an easy topic for anybody involved here. We've all had loved ones that we've lost. We've all been involved in the grieving process. So, you know, I think it's something that everybody needs to keep in mind, that there are people on both sides of these communications. And, you know, I've had a hard time watching some of the personal attacks that have come down on social media and in this room. And I think as a community, it's important that we recognize we're all people here. We're here because we care, and we're here to listen. And I think Director Rhodes has done a nice job of listening to people. He's working on some things with Chance, and I'm hopeful that moving forward, we're going to see some improvements in the way that we communicate with folks at the cemetery going forward. So with that, I'll pass.
Thank you. Mr. Marmy?
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I need to call a Finance Committee meeting for May the 1st. I also want to thank everybody for coming this evening. I will first start out with what happened with the flags. As a veteran, I was not very happy about. As soon as I saw the pictures in the video, I got right on the horn trying to figure out what is going on. I did recognize they were burn barrels, but there's also a procedure with flags and the destruction of flags in a manner. I'm glad to hear that Ms. Pasnick has proper procedures that she's setting forth for the future of those. And the ones that were on the ground are just never acceptable. I thank everybody again for coming. As Mr. Lang alluded to, there are a lot of different things that are being discussed and making sure that things are fair and equitable. The rules that I have abided by for the last, let's see how old I am, for the last 40 plus years, as my loved ones have been buried. I've known about the dates. I've known about having to have my real flowers out there, the artificial ones out there. I've known about it for that many years. I've actually been accused of being a rule abider, and I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I do abide by rules. There are
You're not allowed to
rules in
say
place.
anything.
And what I appreciate is an employee who takes care of enforcing those rules. Now, as that employee, things have been addressed now, and her management, who ultimately makes the decision to either approve or deny those rules, is considering it. But when an employee does their job and they follow the rules and what they are asked to do, and then you have individuals attacking and trying to say that that employee needs to be terminated, I am in disagreement with. If an employee is doing their job and what their management has told them to do, unless it is illegal, then I think that that employee, I mean, they should not be terminated for something like that. And to ask them something and to attack an individual who's doing their job as directed, then that's uncalled for, in my opinion. I think that Ms. Pasnick has a tough position because she's coming in and trying to make sure that the cemetery that she is taking care of is respectable. And as far as the looks, there's been criticism that the grounds have not been kept. And she wants to make sure that that cemetery is looking good and making sure that the grass is cut and is maintained in a proper manner. You do have folks on both sides. You have things that if every individual did things and just skirted the rules just a little bit, and if everybody out there did it, what would that cemetery look like? So there has to be rules. And I know Director Rhodes has indicated that there's going to be something coming out next week, hopefully next week, as far as anything that's going to be the rules that are going to be in place. I'm anxious to see what those are myself, and will abide by them. As somebody who visits the cemetery and who has loved ones there, those are the rules, and I need to abide by them, just like I need to abide by all the rules within the city and all the laws within the city. And I hope that everybody gets to grieve in the manner in which they desire. I know that Cedar Hill Cemetery rules have not been as strict as other rules of other cemeteries in the vicinity. And I know that even those rules have been laxed a little bit. And I think that the condition of the cemetery sometimes has suffered because of that. I hope that we come to a compromise that everybody can still grieve and visit their loved ones that have passed, and they can still have that time with family members. I know I'm the same way. I'll go out there and I'll sit there and I'll talk to my parents or my grandparents, and there are just things that I do that are just, some folks may call it silly, but it's my way of grieving and my way of dealing and coping. So I hope that everybody gets that. And I have faith that Director Rhodes is doing the best that he can in the decisions that are going to come forward. And I know the mayor is involved in some of those conversations. I'm sure he is. Director Rhodes keeps him informed of anything. So I think next week we'll hear about all of that. And I hope everybody can really just have peace with it. And with that, I'll pass. Oh, wait, one more thing. Mrs. Blake, I'm sorry. Congratulations, Jerica. I'm so happy for you, the family. Represent us well, you always do, and everybody in your family does. So congratulations again, and I wish her good fortune. And with that, now,
Mr. Rath.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I always appreciate and love to see people come out and participate in their local government. Personally, I definitely appreciate that. This morning I had the honor of attending a swearing in ceremony where we had 6 brand new firefighter medics sworn in this morning. I think there's birds in here. I think that's the largest class that we've had in a single swearing in since he was sworn in. And I don't know, we're not gonna say that year, are we? A while ago. But it's exciting to see 6 young, eager individuals signing up and stepping forward and helping us out on the fire department. That's great. Mrs. Blake, congratulations to you and to Jerica. That's astonishing. And we look forward to hearing how she did. I'll call a service committee meeting on May 1st, and we're gonna pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank everyone for coming out. I wish it was on better terms. Lauren, when you open that box, I could feel it, the energy. So the only thing that I would ask for you to just give us some time. One thing I've learned about, being new is government can be kind of slow. So sometimes we're kind of reactionary to things. So the administration, they're on it. I would say by next council meeting, we would have some answers for you. Ms. Blake, good luck to your daughter. Hopefully she represents Ohio well and Deutschland. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you. Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank everybody for coming out this evening. As I think I said last week, it's always good to hear, no matter what it is, positive, negative. We need to hear it. If we don't hear it, we don't know. Mrs. Blake, Jarek, we can't wait to celebrate Jarek when she comes back with that gold, as you said. So good luck to her and Germany. Also want to congratulate, I didn't get to make it this morning to the fire station for the swearing in of those new 6 firefighter paramedics, but congratulations and welcome them to the city. I know we're looking forward to them. Unfortunately, Easter morning at my church, I had to call 911 for someone who had a medical episode, and our paramedic crew that came were fantastic, took care of the gentleman right away. As a council member, could not have been more prouder that day of how our men responded to that incident. So I really want to thank them for that. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Ms. Blind.
Hey, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to again thank everyone for coming out. I wish again to mirror what everyone was saying, and I wish this was quick. I wish it was easier, that there's a process. And I have confidence in Mr. Rhodes that he's a good listener, and believe it or not, everyone's comments have been logged. And they do matter, they really do. And Lauren, thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate the understanding that you gave at the beginning of your comments, because it really is, because as someone said, we're all people. And, we do feel what you're feeling, because, we have to make the same accommodations. And as much as I would like to do what I can to my loved one side, I too have to follow the rules. And so, but I do hear you. But thank you, please keep coming. Please. The times are coming, things are changing rapidly, and we're gonna need your input. We're gonna need your wisdom. We're gonna need what it looks like on your corner of the block. Okay, because things are accelerating at a rate governmentally that we need to just stay involved. So please come. That being said, we had a wonderful South Newark cleanup over the weekend. We had wonderful volunteers. Some were sitting here. Thank you. We got to take on some new areas that there have been some unacceptable things going on there. And so gratefully, things are taken care of, they're cleaned up. And we're going to continue to make forward motion in those areas. And it's people from the Newark High Honor Society, the Newark Digital Academy, Denison. They were all in my group, and I'm so grateful. We have a fireman in our midst that was here, and I'm so grateful for him. And, we're just going to keep moving forward, taking back ground.
fallow ground that is being reclaimed for positive things. And so also along that line, Easter morning, we had our first acoustic concert and picnic in the park at Easy Street Park. That was a reclaimed area that had gone fallow for several years and had several negative behaviors going on there as well. But now it was just a wonderful time. And I've gotten many messages and phone calls as a result, and I thought, wow, they sounded negative, but then when I continued to read, it was like, why didn't you invite us? And so next time, we're gonna have a lot more people there. There's no sales of anything, just bring your food, like they say, y'all come. And it was a good time. So congratulations to the firemen, and that's just a wonderful thing. And you all do play a wonderful part in our community here. And again, thank you for coming. So,
Thank you, Ms. Holliger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if I can say anything that hasn't already been said. I thought you did a very nice job, Mr. Marmy, in your comments. So a lot of my comments would have probably been the same as yours. It's a very emotional issue. Losing someone is emotional. We all handle it differently. It's not something that is a fun time to go through, no matter if it's day 1 or day 365, or 2 years later or whatever. It's not something you get over right away. I will say that debate is good. Debate is healthy in government. We're not always going to agree on the outcome or results, but the more input we can have, the better we're going to be. So although we're not going to make everybody happy, not everyone's going to be happy in the audience, not everyone's going to be happy up here. But I think we can do the best that we can and try to do to make compromises when appropriate and to stick with rules when appropriate. And I think, and I hope that we will be able to do that. And I support Chance, I support Dave Rhodes, the mayor. I mean, we all have the best intentions in mind. No one is deliberately trying to be hurtful, negative. We just look at it maybe from different sides. So I'm hopeful that we can come together. And we're not always going to agree, and we're not always going to be satisfactory of what the answer is, but at least we can put our ideas forth. So I appreciate the ideas. I appreciate the debate in government. It's very healthy. And it would be nice to see a lot more people come to our meetings. Not just when you're upset about something, but maybe when you have some good ideas, because we certainly don't have all the ideas. So come back. I just want to say congratulations to you, Ms. Blake and Jerica, and what a great way to represent the city of Newark in a positive way. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you. Mr. Howler.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just also want to thank everybody for coming out. Obviously, a very difficult issue, and people understand the sensitivity behind it. I'm confident that the administration will look into the policy and come up with something that will make us all feel better about the policies being enforced at the cemetery. I want to thank Lindsay Brighton. They're going to be starting a drainage project on a Bannon over in East Newark. I'm excited about that one. We've been looking at that one for close to a year now. As Councilman Blind said, I was also at the South Newark Civic Association cleanup, and it's always great to pick up trash, and look at more than I would like of it around Newark. So that's always great to hear that. Also want to say congratulations to Jerica. That's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm sure you guys are all super proud, and we're all wishing her the best. And
Thank you. I want to thank everybody tonight for being respectful and courteous to everyone tonight. And as everyone said, it's a hard situation, it's a difficult situation. And we'll get through it. We'll come up with the solutions. And so I want to remind everybody that the cemetery, not only do they take care of the cemetery, they also do the parks. So, you know, they have to mow the parks plus the cemetery. So they do have a lot on them. So
It's their job.
and you can't speak. You can't speak.
I'm just saying.
What? I don't care. You can't speak.
What they're paid to do.
You can't speak. But so we need to remember that they do a lot of things, and as Mr. Barber said, they do a good job. I've been up there several times, And especially around Memorial Day, they have that place looking really good for the nice ceremony, so. And I want to remind everybody that Saturday is the log on road run litter cleanup from 9 to noon. I think it's at Hudson Avenue and Clinton Street. By the old Central Church there in that empty spot, that's where the place, and then on May the 20th will be the East End cleanup. And do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Hauser, second by Mr. Rath. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Mr.
Next meeting is April